And we're back. Hello, everyone. Playing more Slay the Princess tonight. I have no idea what path we're going to go down this time. Slay the Princess. We might do that. We have done that at least once. It did not go great for us, all things considered. Although I don't know that any of the very first route that we went on, I think ultimately went pretty great for us. But not like immediately, because we did super duper die in like a very nasty way. Um, we basically speed ran the plot of Dunmeshi um, very quickly. Spoilers, I guess. Uh, but that was fun. But it ended in a great place, and it feels like we've kind of been just trying to get back to that high ever since. I feel like in a way. Um, but at the end of that path is a cabin. Hey Bob. Hey everyone. Um, but yeah, so we ended last time at the end of a loop, having met the first of the Spectre and then the Wraith. Um, it did not go particularly well. I don't know that it went badly either. We're still learning new things, and kind of like with the Outer Wilds, as long as we're learning new things, I feel good. Um, which this one in particular, even when it's going bad, it's kind of great. Um, but it went great. We rescued the princess in a manner of speaking. Yeah, I think she kind of did the rescuing, but we were a willing participant. I will say, we did agree to be a vessel for the wraiths liberation, and then the we don't know that we killed the narrator, but the narrator did leave before it was all over. I think it was the cold credited the princess with having dispatched him, and she said, "Well, I didn't do that. He did that," um, which is an interesting little note. Also, hi, Bedred, if I didn't say that a second ago. But yeah, we're learning all kinds of little things. Like I appreciated that when the wraith took us over, the narrator for a moment was trying to just make the hallway to the exit longer infinitely, and then the princess put the doorway immediately in front of us collectively, the all consuming us, um, which does actually make me wonder if once if the act of possessing us gives her access to essentially the narrator's control of the narrative, or what control the narrator has in the first place. There are lots of questions that I still have about how all of this works. It's everything seems to follow a sort of Roger Rabbit sense of order. Can only do it when it's funny, sort of a thing. Hey Joy, and that's like extremely cool. And so far, it has been very consistent. And I also love that we specifically met the cheated, who seems to be trying to call out that the rules keep changing, even though I don't think that the rules are changing. It's just that our understanding of the rules is evolving, which makes it feel like the rules are changing. But I love that we met that voice when we did, uh, because it's great. I still have questions about how all this works, and I've seen everything. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about Signalis a lot of the time, which is why it feels very appropriate to be streaming this in this set. I picked this one for this particular batch of games for this Happy Ever After season, based on what I had seen from the trailers and things like that. I didn't know how perfectly it was going to fit this set, honestly. I also didn't know how much I was gonna love it, to be honest. Like I knew I was going to be like, oh, this is gonna be a fun, cute game. That does not remotely capture how much this game has captured me, which feels appropriate on a meta level. But yeah, so that was last time. Was we started with the Spectre and chatted with her, which was honestly great. One of my favorite chapters. Hey Al, was chatting with the ghost of the princess who we had killed on the first loop, and then getting to talk with the Spectre, who went from like a genuinely friendly, and then immediately would like pitch shift into like terrifying ghost mode whenever they wanted to remind us that, oh yeah, we were the ones that stabbed them, which I think is valid, all things considered. But it was just such a good balance, and then to move from that into the Wraith, who was just a full on like more corporeal ghoul thing that had crawled out of the basement by the time we arrived. There wasn't a way into the basement by the time we arrived. That's its own thing. We got to there when it was just a corridor leading to the mirror, and then a Wraith, and then we were gone. Well, we were only gone because we basically said, "Hey, I'm here to free you," and then there was a possession, and then the narrator kind of there was some token resistance, and then the narrator went, "You know what? Screw this! I'm leaving," without saying so much as that. And then we left, and there was nothing outside the cabin again, which just seems to be the way of things. And I'm curious if we'll learn more about what it is that triggers the nothingness outside the cabin. I have some theories on how we can continue to do a science to it. But first, I got to make some decisions about what we're going to do this time, because we're back at chapter 1. We're back at the start of a new loop. The world is our oyster again, and we got to decide if we want oysters or send them back and get another entree or something. Princess going to have a little bit of horrifying as a treat. That's good, because she seems to consistently head in that direction, which personally, I'm okay with. But speaking of, thank you, wonderful segue. Joy beats me to it. I was going to use that to go into, and that's the great segue as we get into our content warnings. Yes, this game is a horror game. It's also a gripping emotional journey, and for both of those reasons, we need to talk about the content warnings for tonight's stream. This game does have sequences with flashing or strobing images and lights, as well as scenes of graphic violence. Both visual and audio, as we kind of got the reminder last time, as well as scenes with blood, gore, body horror. It definitely seems like it's going to be kind of a recurring theme, as well as themes that deal with death, instances of suicide, drowning, suffocation, immolation, torture, and kind of a recurring theme of gaslighting or things adjacent to or that share enough similarities to gaslighting. So obviously wanted to forewarn on that front. For a more detailed and comprehensive list of warnings, either head to doesthedogdie.com and search for Slay the Princess, or head to blacktabbygames.com, and you can find their own list of content warnings specific to Slay the Princess. Both of those sites have got a pretty comprehensive list. Black Tabby Games in particular has got a first kind of batch list like ours, and then if you continue scrolling down the page, we'll give you a chapter by chapter breakdown, so that as we get to each chapter, based on the name, you'll be able to tell what specific content warnings are present in that chapter as we get to them, so that if there are any that are relevant to you, you know what to prepare yourself for and can react accordingly. I think that's all on that. Saw a video today about the reintroduction of British flat oysters and how the locations are kept secret to deter poachers. Love that and support that. I mean, I hate that it's necessary, but I love that they're smart enough to do it. On that note, bloop, into the thing, into the wide blue yonder. Because yeah, we're right at the start of the thing. This is the end of the last loop, and now there we go. Apparently that last one from the achievement we just got is a seething vessel.
And at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
Which, yeah, seething vessel, I think, describes the Wraith aptly.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Alright, so let's see if anything has changed. Okay, so we can go our anti-monarchist route again. We could go our silent protagonist route again. I mentioned that I wanted to try as many new routes as possible before we start retreading old ground. We may be coming up on that pretty soon here. Do I get some sort? I don't remember if we've actually asked this yet. Do I get some sort of reward for doing this? Have we gone the greedy rogue route? The mercenary route? You consider that maybe I'm okay with the world ending? We've definitely asked that. Forget it, I'm not doing this. Can't someone else do this? Killing a princess seems kind of bad, though, doesn't it? This was the one that led to the, what are you, a monarchist? Which made me laugh out loud. Maybe the only reason she's going to end the world is because she's locked up. I can't remember if we've asked this since we've gone around again. But I'm tempted to ask this again. I'm going to ask this again. Have you considered that maybe the only reason that she's going to end the world is because she's locked up?
While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that.
Now, this is a very interesting line. Causality doesn't matter here. That's a very interesting thing for the narrator to say to us.
It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything.
That's just funny.
Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
We could try walking away from it again and seeing if we get something else. Because last time we got the Contrarian, and that we didn't get to a chapter 3 that time around. We could try that route again and see if there's a different path from that chapter 2 that gets us to a chapter 3. Do I get some kind of reward for doing this?
Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it.
Okay, fair enough. That's it, alright? So why don't us just turn around and walk away? Yeah, let's say, okay, forget it, I'm not doing this. I'm curious to see if we can get to a chapter 3 on the walk away path.
Are you serious? No, you have to do it.
Okay, so they have locked us out of that for the moment. Say, okay, fine. Go to the cabin and I'll talk to her, and if she's as bad as you say, then maybe I'll slay her, but I'm not committing to anything until I've had a chance to meet her face to face. Can you tell me what my prize is going to be for doing a good job? Okay, we could keep going on the reward route. That's a new one. This would be something different. Have you considered that maybe I'm okay with the world ending? These we've all seen before. Let's try the prize route. I don't think we've gone down this path.
It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination.
Okay, that's all we got on the prize route for now. Ah, it's a shame. Is it an eternity of solitude? The cake is a lie? Alright, the most... Let's be as contrary as possible. Can't someone else do this?
Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't.
Have you considered that maybe I'm okay with the world ending?
Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end.
Hey, Willow.
I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right?
Alright, we're gonna go back to this one. Look, I'll go to the cabin and I'll talk to her, and if she's as bad as you say, then maybe I'll slay her, but I'm not committing to anything until I've had the chance to meet her face to face. Essentially, at this point, we're gunning to try and meet the Contrarian on Route 2.
Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed.
Each and every one of us. How many people does that include?
So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
Proceed.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade.
So the other thing is that if we do get to the cabin on Chapter 2, we're ignoring the mirror.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Yeah, we haven't heard the hero at all. It's just us and the narrator so far. So first time we were here, we didn't take the blade. If we're doing Contrarian, or if we're gunning for Contrarian, I think we leave the blade behind.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
Yeah, I love that he always ends that line regardless of the description.
Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
So yeah, her voice changes if we don't take the blade. That's an interesting note.
It's hypnotizing.
Hey, there you are.
A voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
So many options. We haven't tried this one yet. Gosh. Technically, I don't think we've tried either of these. I'm curious. Let's see what happens. I'm here to save you.
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever.
I see. You're trying to get her to lower her guard. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Oh, this would be an interesting path.
You were lying when you said you were here to rescue her, but regardless of your intentions, breaking her out of those chains would be a big mistake. Don't even try it.
Let's examine the chains.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
Ah!
No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Could be.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
And if there isn't a key, do you have any other ideas? I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can at least find something to break you free. That's not bad. Like, you know, you've had plenty of time in this room. If there was something in here of use, you'd probably say so. I'm going to go check upstairs and see if there's something useful up there. This seems reasonable. And it gives us some time alone, just the three of us, to talk. Yeah, let's go with this one. This seems reasonable. I'm going to go check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can at least find something to break you free.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
I think we're on the path to a self-harm warning. Thank you, Bad Road, for the heads up.
Is someone else here?
That's a great question. Let's try the door.
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside.
Hey, let me out of here!
Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done.
Return to the bottom of the stairs.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom?
That's the question, thank you, hero.
Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely...
Yep, that's...
...to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf.
In fairness, pretty sure she did this on our very first route. It's just we weren't down here when she did it. It happened while we were back upstairs.
As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you. The clang of bouncing metal.
From
It's the
behind?
blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
Yeah, bud. You're full of crap. We saved the princess.
Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm.
Love this face.
Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit.
I also like that we've got a new icon. I don't know that we've had one that it's us holding the pristine blade with blood on before.
She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
Approach the locked door.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world.
There you go. Take ownership.
As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade.
Narrator?
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that.
This is a first.
Watch me.
What are you doing?
Oh, okay. So, our last loop, and he was like, I couldn't just make a rock and drop it on her. Even if I did, it would just fall on you. Oh, okay, hang on, we have... I'm glad we scrolled down. Warn her.
Stop that.
Yes!
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart. But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect. Stop it. Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Blade. Move the blade. As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm pretty sure we're about to be dying, but I'm kind of okay with it.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
I shouldn't find that funny.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
Maybe she was right-handed.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks.
Does the narrator only have control of the knife and not us? Sorry, that just occurred to me.
It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Oh, the knife in the door, yeah.
On a
And the path, yeah.
in
Fair.
the woods. And at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
But the fact that that was the first time that, like, we were controlled, I'm wondering if we hadn't picked up the knife to use to free her, I think we still would have been okay, and it's just that because we picked up the knife and the narrator had control of the knife as part of the scenery, that's why the narrator was able to control us. So if we never pick up the knife... This is a guess, I'm guessing.
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
So this is chapter 2, The Damsel. I don't think we've gotten this chapter before. Given the chapter we just had, the most appropriate response is, "Oh, you bastard." I feel like this is the one we gotta go with.
My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We just met for the first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it.
Oh my god, we got a Prince Charming. Oh my god. Haha, what ho! Fantastic! Oh.
Our beloved?
Yeah!
Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. So all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works.
Okay, alright, phenomenal. What an entrance. Love it immediately. Even the hero thinks the smitten is a bit much. I don't even know if it's possible, but God, I'm suddenly wanting the smitten and the cold to have an interaction.
We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I like this one last time, I like it again. Let's assume I'm telling the truth and all this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me.
Sorry, 1 second. Cold is what you get when you kill the princess ruthlessly, and smitten is when you try to save her. Seems that way. Particularly because we kind of went pretty directly for the save route that time, without really setting out to do that.
You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me.
Oh, buddy, if you only knew.
You were the one who did us in, villain.
Villain? Varlet?
Well, not you in the literal sense, but you did everything you could to stop us from rescuing her. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the entire world was at stake. No lone princess is worth that price. I beg to differ. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to take a deep breath and assume that whoever is making the decisions here has the common sense to ignore your protestations. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself? Or were you instead transported to a different world entirely?
We've kind of heard this every time, but it helps me to refresh on it just to make sure I haven't missed a piece.
If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything just like I told you she would? She would never. She's a perfect angel that you cruelly imprisoned as part of some convoluted, dastardly scheme.
Dastardly. Fantastic.
Convoluted. I don't know how this premise could be any more simple. Princess bad, stop her, save everyone.
I'm with them. I'm going to find a way to save her from that cabin. Talk by the princess, rescue the cabin. Do I want to pick sides or do I just want to... Ooh. I didn't get my contrarian option earlier, and we could try... Now that this is back on the menu in Chapter 2, could just try to turn around and leave. Oh. and it's not a bad thing. The only thing about this game is that I could literally sit here for like 20 minutes just agonizing over which option to pick first. Except I know that we can just come back here and go again. So that kind of takes it. That kind of takes the worry out of it.
I need to bring you dice.
No. I'm going to just very boldly go with the first one I saw that I liked, which is this new one. I'm with them. I'm going to find a way to save her from that cabin.
That's right, you can't stop all of us. We're going to sweep her off her feet if it's the last thing anyone does. Are these really the sorts of people you'd like to align yourself with? You're not at the cabin yet. You still have plenty of time to reflect on the situation. I just hope for all our sakes that you make the right call.
Alright, proceed.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Well, it's kind of a toss-up between the two of you then, huh?
We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in.
Incredible.
I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice.
Hero, which one of them are you talking? It doesn't matter.
I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed.
Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet.
I genuinely love the roots where the hero just sounds tired.
Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead.
Proceed. Alright,
The
ignore the
interior of
Ooh.
cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Nope, we said in next chapter 2 we ignore the mirror. This is actually a chapter 2, and we can't ignore the mirror because we're not in a mirror corridor like we were last time. This time we ignore the mirror, see what happens. We don't say anything about it. This whole cabin is different. Approach the mirror, enter the basement. Enter the dungeon. And it just disappears!
The door to the basement creaks,
Ooh, I like the sconces.
revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight.
Yeah.
But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
Had to work it back. Had to work it back to your closer, huh, bud?
A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
That's gone up like a half octave.
Her voice, it's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already.
I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall.
The carpet's nice.
My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment.
You know she can't hear you, right?
She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit.
Yeah, the dress is floofier. And also, I think the manacle is not as imposing as it was last time. The tiara is different. Like, everything about the scene has changed. Was there a window last time, even? Or it wasn't this big, I don't think.
Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you.
Oh, no.
Hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing.
And she called us a hero.
Oh no, it's got both of them. It's got both of them.
Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. You've been here before.
That's right, villain, and you killed us. Well, she killed us. Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty.
And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. Now, hold on. If she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her?
We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise.
Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job.
But how? We have no pristine blade. You killed me last time and that hurt a lot. Why did you do that? We know why this is silly. I didn't bring a knife. Do I have to cut you out again? What happened after I died? I have to ask, did you end the world after you killed me back there? I'm sorry about what happened last time. The narrator who sent me here to kill you took over my body. It was extremely unfair. That's true. Or skip all of this and rescue the princess. Oh, that's actually...
Princess. To you too.
What happened after I died?
You died, and now we're talking.
Oh my god. Sorry. The bubbliness is throwing me a little bit. Uh-huh. But before we started talking, did the world end? Did you end the world?
I don't know. Was I supposed to have ended the world? Would that have made you happy?
Oh no.
Isn't that just like our darling princess? She wants to make us happy. My heart melts further with every word that passes through her beautiful lips.
Are you listening to her? That's a confession.
No, I don't want the world to end. I have no feelings one way or another about the world ending. Honestly, the world sucks. People are a plague, and I hope you brought a slow and painful ruin to them all. Or we could just remain silent. I'm just gonna... No, I don't want the world to end.
Then I didn't end the world.
That is not reassuring.
See? She didn't confess anything. She is innocence itself.
Not so sure.
I'm sorry about what happened last time. The narrator who sent me here to kill you took over my body. It was extremely unfair.
If another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
Oh no.
She took that in stride. To a surprising extent. An almost unsettling extent, actually.
Yeah, I'm with you, hero.
That's because she's perfect. Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do?
Oh, no. That's a scary thought.
She doesn't. There's no one else like me.
I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to drive her to violence.
Oh, no. If she has a narrator? Oh, no. I didn't bring a knife. Do I have to cut you out again?
I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done.
What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the only one here who thinks that's weird?
I appreciate that for once Hero is the voice of reason in all this.
She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel.
No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behaviour and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted. So go ahead and slay her.
Rescue the princess.
No. I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? I would if you had a weapon.
Ah ha ha ha. Okay. Science!
Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought.
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't.
I would.
I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her?
Oh my god.
Princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed.
Absolutely incredible.
I can't believe it. But I guess I have to.
I told you, there's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh.
The-
If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back and everyone out there would be saved. Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon.
Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
We leave and then we have our whole lives to figure out what we want to do next. What do you want to do?
Let me guess. End the world?
Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection. And then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Oh no. There must be something you want.
I just want to make you happy.
Did the eyes just get bigger? Or did I imagine that?
She can't just want to make us happy.
It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so of course she'd want the same for us.
And I think the music changed. But what would make you happy?
I just want to make you happy.
Okay, that definitely changed the art style.
Is she broken? What's going on? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar. Are you starting to trust me now?
You have to want something more than just making me happy.
Okay, I'll find something else to want if that makes you happy.
Oh no.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't right.
I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us. You don't have to act like it's a big deal.
Oh dear. But you need your own thing. You just met me. You can't base your entire happiness around me.
Okay, if that's what makes you happy.
This is
Is
incredible.
it just me, or does it feel like we're alone right now? Like we're the only ones here?
No. You don't get the chance to ask another question, nor will you ever. It's time for you to leave. Memory returns.
No. She was our perfect match.
Aw, bud.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her?
No.
And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?
It's gonna be okay, just trust me. We've been here before and you're always scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. Yes, I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? That can't hurt, right?
These are both kind of lies, so I'm just gonna approach the mirror. You approach the mirror.
I don't like that silence.
Voices feel small, distant as you approach. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. And yeah, the narrator's never here with us. You've unraveled. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. Proceed. You are at the cabin. You approach.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. I am curious to see what it means for us to know it.
Well, this is a bit of an awkward spot to pause, but before we dive into what is certain to be another of wonderful in-depth moments to wrap up that journey, we're actually going to go to the break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes to chat with one of, I mean, I was going to say one of the more unique, but they're all unique. They're all uniquely unique, but boy, this one really, really surprised me. But yeah, we'll talk to this princess in just a few. We're gonna like I said, we're gonna break, run some ads for a few minutes. So stand up, stretch, do whatever you need to do to take care of you, and then I'll see you all in just a few. I'll see you then. I appreciate all the different ways that this game is finding to do horror. It's just genuinely, it's surprising and wonderful. And this one really caught me off guard. Let's see what she thinks of things. Do you think there are people out there? I don't think we've seen that one before. Do you think that anything is real out there? Do you think that we're real? Ooh. Do you have any thoughts on this vessel? I definitely want to ask this time. Do you know what's going to happen when you awaken? Whoa, hello. When you send me back, I'm not alone. There are voices that speak to me. Some of them are me, but one of them is something else. I call him the narrator, and he wants me to kill you. Do you have a narrator? Have the vessels had one? We're getting a lot of new options this time, and I love it. Definitely want to ask this one. Do you think there are people out there? We've been asking ourselves this. Let's see what she thinks.
It doesn't matter if there are. People are too small for us. You and I are the only things that interest me.
Do you think that anything is real out there? Do you think that we're real?
We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something. But nothing cannot exist on its own. And because of that, nothing can't exist.
Do you know what's going to happen when you awaken?
If I did, I would already be awake.
It's fair. One thing that I love that's been consistent in all of these moments is that there are always hands covering the eyes, and there are always hands propping up, at least one hand propping up the chin. Do you have thoughts on this vessel?
This one is soft and delicate. You molded her to love you, and she'll make for a gentle heart. Do not mourn her. She has served her purpose.
I mean, it's a fair read. When you send me back, I'm not alone. There are voices that speak to me. Some of them are me, but one of them is something else. I call him the narrator, and he wants me to kill you. Do you have a narrator? Have the vessels had one?
No, their minds are empty, existent, but constantly shifting into something new. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond?
Interesting. He does. I don't know why, but I know this for a fact. Ooh. He does. I don't know what I'm going to do when I find him. He does, and when I find him, you and I are finally going to have answers. Ooh. He does, and when I find him, I'm going to kill him. He does, but you're going to keep that to yourself. Kind of like this middle one. He does, and when I find him, you and I are finally going to have answers.
Do not look to one who fears me for your truth. The only answers worth knowing are those we can find within ourselves.
I love that counter. I love that a lot. I'm ready to go back.
The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are.
Wait, for real?
I will be here, waiting for you.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Okay.
You're on a path.
That might mean the
in
next
woods.
time that we get to
At the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
So I have refused to ask what I originally called the entity, how many more vessels do you need? But that, unprompted, suggests that the answer is one. One more vessel, and we get a final ending? Possibly?
You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay. Alright. This time for all the marbles. we know that we can't go back on this route, but we can turn around and leave in chapter 2. We could get the cold again and see what that does. I'm trying to remember the steps we took on our very first run, because I don't know that we have a whole new path at the moment. End of the world, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
But how can a princess locked away in a basement end the world?
Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you.
I just want to say, we're all counting on you. Good luck. Do you have any evidence to back this up?
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
I don't think we've chosen this one. Okay, I'm sold. Let's get this over with.
Good. As long as you remain focused on your goal, it should all be smooth sailing. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
Proceed.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Dude, what are we gonna do? Let's take it.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
Into the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
It's gonna be that dark red, bold, angry voice.
Who's there?
Or the kind of middle ground, but still, it's not the... When we have the knife, the tone changes, and I like how consistent that's been.
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Okay, so we don't get the option to say, I'm here to save you if we already have the knife. That's interesting to know. We're just gonna walk on now.
Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
I think this is the one we chose when we were doing our sitcom run. Okay, yeah, you got me. I'm here to kill you. I don't think we chose the nuh-uh, which would be very fun. I kind of like I haven't decided yet.
How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Pick a role where you pick whatever is funniest. You're absolutely right. Let's drop it.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
This one, I'm just trying to go as much on instinct as possible and just not overthink things.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed.
She looks exhausted.
We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
A relationship? Are you coming on to me? Amazing. How would I get you out of here? What's your name? Which I don't think have asked on any of the loops. How long have you been down here? Do you know why I'm here to kill you? That's interesting. Think we did the first time? Okay. Do you know why I'm here to kill you?
Do you?
I know what I've been told. Whether or not I believe it is an entirely different matter.
So, you're not going to share? How pointless. If you want to talk, I'll talk. But this isn't talking.
How long have you been down here?
Too long.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her.
As awkward as this one is, I'm tempted to pick it just to see what she says.
Don't jump to any weird conclusions. We're two people who have met each other. By definition, we have a relationship.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant. How would I get you out of here?
You can't. Don't bother.
Not asking you.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Sure, as long as we're here.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her.
Yeah, you two have a lot in common. It's a shame you don't get along more.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here.
I'm pretty sure if we try to do keep her locked away, when we try to leave, the door will close and lock behind us because it has every other time. So we're going to go back to I'm getting you out of here.
Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it. I'm sure it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
We didn't ask this last time, so I'm going to ask it this time. If there isn't a key, do you have any ideas? Because besides me cutting you out of here?
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to finally be free.
Okay. Early on in this game, I wasn't that keen on the hero voice. These later loops, I'm really starting to warm up to them.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but
There
the
it
door
is.
at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
We're not even going to bother. Return to the bottom of the stairs.
You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom?
Thank you.
Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
I like how many of the lines in this one are identical to the loop that we just did, but because we came down here with the knife first and the tone is different, they essentially had to re-record the same lines, but just at a different delivery.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
So we do have the option at this late juncture to try and pivot. You're right, just the absolute betrayal. But other than the, like, just trying something different, I don't think this is interesting. So I'm gonna go with this.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
Where's the locked door?
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade.
We could also choose to fail this.
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
Oh. Ooh! Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's very interesting. We can't.
Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it. Stop resisting me. I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
Love this face.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
See, this version of the princess, I think, actually will.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it.
Oh, interesting.
On a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess.
This one seems like she already knows about the loop. Yeah, between being blasé about the whole losing a limb thing and then also the maybe I'll see you in another lifeline. Yeah, there was just a level of calm about that particular princess. I was more thrown by the all of the other options being grayed out. The fact that we took the other path first, where I had to go hunt for the warn her and resist options, and it's like, ooh, I'm actually glad that we did these both tonight, kind of oopsed into them back to back.
You're here to slay her. If you don't,
All right.
it will be the end of the world.
Now we could try turn around and leave. Okay. No.
Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around.
The skeptic!
Word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago.
Would love to see voice of the skeptic, voice of the contrarian, and voice of the cheated all hanging out, grabbing brunch. Still tempting. I want to see what this chapter has for us though. So let's just get on with it.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud?
Yes!
No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess.
How is every new voice the best? How do they keep getting away with it? Technically, he doesn't say anything out loud. That's a great way
Less
to put
a
it.
cozy woodland retreat, and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Nope.
I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation, and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon. Are you sure? What if she, I don't know, turns it against us? Which I'm bringing up in a purely hypothetical manner.
just thought experiment. What if she were to use the blade on us in a stabbing or slicing fashion?
Yes, I'm sure. Turns it against you. She's a prisoner here. She'll only be able to turn it against you if you give it to her. Which you won't be doing because she's an existential threat to the entire world. Okay. I'm trusting you.
Remember, you need to establish your safe words before you scene.
Establish your safe words before you scene. Don't I get a say here? What's the big idea?
Normally, yeah, but not about this. Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go.
Amazing!
Wonderful. You do exactly that, sweeping the knife from the table before proceeding to the basement. Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it.
Interesting.
No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on.
Very
The
interesting.
door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor.
I do find it interesting that, what's the word I'm thinking of here? That both the Damsel chapter and the Prisoner chapter have torches along the wall down in the basement, whereas a lot of the other ones... I think those are the only two that I've seen so far that have torches along the wall leading down into the basement. I love that parallel.
Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
I love what they do with the fonts.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves, the chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap.
There's still a spare manacle, yeah. This one's just a backup. Cripes!
Should we be worried about the one around her neck? Why would you be worried about her restraints? If anything, they'll make your job easier. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
Funny, because this one is actually always here in all of the other loops. There's always this chain, and this one is either, like, just broken or unfinished. And it's never addressed or explained.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
I'm not sure I need to do much of anything. Do you see how locked up she is? I'm just gonna leave her here. No, we're gonna sit with her.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
Even the crown looks like chain links.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease.
No, we don't need to challenge this. Sit where you're told to sit, yeah.
You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me?
Well, I've been here before. Am I the only one who remembers that? That's a good probing question to start with. The other chain on the wall, who is it for? What a way to phrase that. We're not opening... What would you have me do is a little bit too submissive. We're not going to open with that. Yeah. I've been here before. Am I the only one who remembers that?
Oh, are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
First you make a comment about having been here before, and now this. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things. It's complicated things how, exactly? Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency.
Mm-hmm.
A contingency for what? For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse. Just... good luck. If you knew this could happen, why didn't you tell us? All of this is incredibly valuable information. It would have changed our actions considerably. I needed you to be in the dark for as long as I could keep you there. It's important. Necessary, even. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative. That's pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I never said I wasn't.
Alright, fair.
I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that. Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. Alright? Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark? The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to... I won't. Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter.
Right.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that. Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming.
That's a fair criticism. We probably had that conversation took a while. Speaking of things taking a while, that's actually all of our time, and this is a pretty good spot to tee up, I think, for next time. That's actually where we're going to go ahead and call it for tonight. This will be an interesting one to open on Thursday. I mean, I say that they've literally all been interesting ones to open on. Last time we were talking to a ghost, but this time it feels like we're gonna actually start poking at the fourth wall, and whatever chains it has on it. So yeah, more on that Thursday. So yeah, we'll be back with more of this 8 p.m. Eastern Thursday night. We'll pick up with more Slay the Princess, but thank you all so much for coming and hanging out tonight. Be sure to check out our full schedule at schedule.truck.community. That has our full stream team schedule and who's streaming what on what days at what times, with links to everyone's channels. So you can check out a full week's worth of streams with usually multiple streams a day. So a whole bunch of stuff to watch, for whatever you're in the mood for, and all kinds of odds for stuff you can't catch live. I think that's all of that on that. Speaking of multiple streams today, here in just a little bit over at twitch.tv/Squirrelily. I believe it's September and Soleil. We're going to be doing more Super Mario Wonder. It's just Super Mario Wonder, not Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Or Mario Wonder or something like that. Excellent. So we'll send a raid their way here in just a moment. So yeah, just hang out and chat for some fun, colorful platforming times with deeply psychedelic effects going. That game has been fun as hell to watch. It's a lovely little design that they've put together, and I am very glad that they did it. And we'll be back with more of this later this week. And I will hope to see you all then. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week ahead. And yeah, I will hope to catch you next time. Good night, y'all.